Hello.
Got Maddie Brown, CPA for 4 decades with us. And
God,
oh,
don't say
what
that.
what we can learn from Maddie. I can for sure give you my personal experience today. But first of all, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. That's what we're here for today is actually a live Q&A with Maddie Brown. But we also want to share with you how to work on your business instead of working in your business. So, are you a entrepreneur that is wearing all the hats in your business? Are you putting out fires? Do you do all the marketing yourself or do you hire somebody to do your marketing but still find yourself creating posts and coming up with ideas for your marketing company? Or how much time do you spend doing your own bookkeeping? Or do you hire somebody to do your bookkeeping, but you still don't understand those darn reports they send you and you don't know what they're doing for you? You still don't have financial clarity. Or what about all the administrative things, setting up appointments, setting up sales calls, setting up the follow ups, and sending out proposals? And do you wear that hat also? You probably wear a lot of hats. And instead of putting out fires, we want to prevent fires. There really is only two variables we can work with: time and money. So, real quick, I want to share my experience at Smashing Numbers real quick that will bring us to today's topic. So, I saw a receptionist position open for Smashing Numbers. So, I applied. I was hired. I've been here for 6 years now. I was working as a receptionist, and Maddie asked me if I would take over her newsletter. I had no clue how to do a newsletter or marketing, but I was willing to learn. And so it felt good to start doing the newsletter. Then she asked me to make a graphic. Didn't know what that was, learned pretty quick. Started posting on social media, helping her do webinars. And I actually realized I love marketing. It was fun. I thought I was going to go into marketing. But
And
then
and
Maddie can go
and
ahead,
and
Maddie.
and by the way, she hated Infusionsoft, but she learned
Oh,
to use it anyway.
I did hate Infusionsoft, which is now called Keep. If there's anybody else out there that can agree with that, go ahead and post that in the comments. Give me a GIF. What is your GIF? Put a GIF in the comments of how you feel about Infusionsoft. Maybe it's great. I do love it now. When I first started, whoo, there's a lot to learn. But so Maddie started investing in me like she does all of her employees. Invested in Jack Canfield training. I'm now a certified trainer in his success principles. Dave Ramsey training, David Nagel training, and Tony Robbins. And when I was doing the marketing, I said, Maddie, I need to sit in on these coaching calls. I need to know what you tell these people. I need to know what it is that what do you do? So I sat in on some calls and I was like, wow, Maddie, I really love watching those transformations. Like you really make a difference in people's lives. I want to sit in on more. I don't I want to sit in on more. I want to watch more now. And I watched entrepreneurs go from shamed and stressed and fearful to relief and excitement and joy. And I cannot tell you how many people have said they feel like a grown up about their money now. So Maddie, let's talk a little bit about how to work on your business instead of working in your business, or as I believe you love to call it, being operationally irrelevant.
Your your business should not be a job for you to do. It should be fun. It should be something you should enjoy. My mother once said to me, "You've arranged your life so you don't have to do anything you don't want to do." And I said, "Absolutely. That is exactly how it should be. You need to find people who will learn Infusionsoft and enjoy Infusionsoft and take the initiative and grow and watch them grow. And that is what a business really does. It grows up people into adults from children. It's a lot like being a parent. Okay. Now I am 63 years old. I never had children. All my children have 4 legs. But what I know is that when I asked Becca to do the newsletter, I asked her to do it because I hated it. I didn't want to do it. And so she did it. Now, she probably didn't do it perfectly at the beginning. And we're still learning, and every newsletter goes out is a test and a trial. Someone once told me that 80% of what you do fails, and the other 20% is what you make a living on. Okay. So you have to be able to let people try and let people do things. They're not going to do it the way you would do it. They're probably going to actually do it better after a while. But in the meantime, you're going to have to watch them. But it's a little like teaching someone to ride a bike. Okay. You cannot ride the bike for them. They have to learn to balance. They have to learn to pedal. They have to learn that skill. And they can only learn it on their own. And if you don't let them go and take off the training wheels, that's on you, not on them. And you need to let people experiment and grow. And that is one of the greatest joys that I never expected from owning a business, is watching employees learn and grow and expand and be able to do more. Now, a lot of you are coaches or speakers or people who are trying to do good things in the world. You actually deny someone the opportunity to learn if you don't delegate. You're actually doing them a disservice. I have what I call the 3 Ds. Anytime you pick something up, you need to either A, do it, B, delegate it, or C, dump it. It doesn't need to be done. 3 ways you can handle things. Now, you either do it, you delegate it, or you dump it. And if you can create a situation where you are what I call, and Dave Ramsey calls, operationally irrelevant in your business, then your business runs without you, and that is the goal. It's your job to make your business run without you. That's your job. It's not your job to do the bookkeeping. It's not your job to do the taxes. It's not your job to do the marketing. It's your job to help your business grow into an adult business that runs itself. No, I never know where I'm going, Becca, but
You're good, Maddie. I'm here.
that's where we are. That's where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me some proactive approaches, Maddie. I know that we help both people. We help people who are just entrepreneurs that have no team, they want a virtual assistant. And we also help entrepreneurs that do have an established team. And I know one thing that you have them do is if they have a team, they write down a list of their team members and what they do. And if they are just by themselves, you have them write down a list of tasks so that they know what they have to do and they know what their team is doing to see if somebody has an opening that they can delegate something to them. But tell me some of your proactive approaches for a team and things like that, Maddie.
Well, I'll tell you what has happened to me in my life. Okay.
Okay.
What has happened to me in my life, and my employees always recognize when I have hit this point. Okay. Because I go along and I say, I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. And then one day I get up and I'm just overwhelmed. I'm tired. I'm fed up. I can't do it. And I sit down at my desk and I start handing things out to everybody else that I should have handed out to them in the first place. And I clear my desk and I say, there now, we took care of all that shit that needed to get done because I got it off my desk and did what I should have done in the first place, which was to delegate it. And my life is much more peaceful when I automatically delegate tasks instead of saying, I'll take care of it. Because when I say I'll take care of it, it goes on a list and it goes on a time frame. And, and the God's truth is half the time I don't do it. I forget about it. I don't get it taken care of. I've not done anybody a favor by doing that. Okay. I was way
Mhm.
better off if I had just delegated it to someone that would do it and do it now than what I did. So you do a disservice to your employees, you do a disservice to your clients. Delegate it immediately. It's like a hot potato, okay? You catch it and it's hot and you throw it to the next person, okay? And the sooner you get it off your desk, the easier your life is going to be.
Yes. And I love the 3Ds, the do, dump, and delegate. And if they're going to create a list, it should be that list. Make sure they can put one of the 3Ds next to it. Or I always love your list idea of every morning to look at their goals. What are their goals? And make a list of what are 5 things I'm going to do today. It could be as simple as writing an email. It could be a phone call. What are 5 things that they are going to do today? And make sure that their checklist item that they can say, yep, did, done. Um, and I think this is also the spot to add that it's honestly not their top line revenue that matters. So when they say, I want to make $1 million, that number is made up. They came up with it out of thin air. They're stressing over a number that they think they need to make that they don't know if they need to make. And so really it's the bottom line that matters. And we work from the bottom up. Can you tell me a little bit about your different approach on this, Maddie?
Well, when someone says to me that they want to make $1 million, I know that they don't understand their lives.
Mm.
And I want them to stop and think about how much it costs to live their life every day the way they want to live it.
Mm.
And when you know that that costs you $5,000, then you know you need to make $5,000. And so I'm going to work backwards from that. And I'm going to say we also want some savings. And we also want to pay our taxes. And we also have Infusionsoft which everyone hates and doesn't exist anymore because now it's Keep. I'm old. Okay. But everybody has stuff to run their business that they have to pay. And so you work your way back up the tree and you find out that the number that you really need to make is 10,000 in order to pay your business expenses, pay your taxes, put some money in savings, and have $5,000 left for you to live the life you want to live. That's why I work backwards. I want you to define your life and what it costs to live your life first. I want you to design your business and how you want your business to run. And I want you to work backwards into how much money you need to make. That number's probably going to surprise you. It may be high, it may be low, I don't know. But your job is to figure out how many hot potatoes you need to sell in order to hit that number. It's a math problem. It's a simple math problem that you learn to do in school. Okay? How many potatoes do you need to sell for how much money? Now, I always use the example of you can be a McDonald's or you can be a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. And you can get a hamburger at either one of those establishments. You will pay a completely different price for the hamburger that you buy at McDonald's than you buy at a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. But the bottom line is most of them are making 10, 15% of what they make on the top line on the bottom line. And what matters is what's left on the bottom line. And you need to decide, do you want to be a McDonald's or do you want to be a Ruth Chris Steakhouse? Either one's fine. Nothing wrong with either one of them. You can either be high volume, low cost, or low cost, high cost, low volume. It's math. It's multiplication. We learn to do it as children. That's all it takes. There's either time or money. What are you going to be? McDonald's? Ruth Chris Steakhouse? Which do you find more value in? I personally, I would rather help 10 people for $100 than help one person for $1,000 because that's who I am. And I see so many small businesses that suffer and they don't make enough money and they don't focus on what they need to focus on, which is revenue generation. And I feel for those small businesses and I want them to do better. And in order for them to do better, they're going to have to do things differently. Because if you want a different result, you've got to change what you're doing. And that's going to be uncomfortable. And it's going to be scary. But you can raise your prices. And I'm on a soapbox to everybody about raising their prices these days. You've got to raise your prices. Last time my husband and I went to McDonald's, cost us $27 to go through McDonald's. Just him and me. It's ridiculous. You got to raise your prices. McDonald's did. You're still buying coffee at McDonald's, aren't you? Okay. Everybody's raising their prices. You have to raise your prices too. It's scary. It's hard. No one likes it, but it has to be done. Because if you don't raise your prices, you won't be in business a year from now. So I kind of got off track. What was the question,
You're
Becca? What
okay.
was
No,
I supposed to?
you're okay. I can sum up two of those. We were talking about the top line does not matter. It's what's left on the bottom line. And that's what we do. We smash the bottom line, right? We got to figure out, we start at the bottom and work our way up. And so when you were talking about creating a life by design and looking at what they want their life to cost, that's where if they're wearing all the hats, they're doing their marketing, they're doing their own bookkeeping, they're doing all the sales calls, they're sending out the proposals. If they take a look at they want to hire somebody to do their marketing, or they want to hire somebody to do their bookkeeping, or they want to hire a virtual assistant, the first thing is to put that on your list. But the second thing to do is to start looking research of how much it costs. It's oftentimes a surprise that something doesn't cost as much as they thought it would. And so that goes back to that maple leaf number of I need to make $1 million, but they really don't. It's a number in thin air. And so many people that I've witnessed through the coaching is they want to hire a virtual assistant. They need to because they're drowning. They're not enjoying their business anymore. And they think it's going to cost something that they can't afford. and they do a little research, and they should have hired them a year ago to take off some of those hats. So that's one thing I want to recap. Do you want to add anything to that, Maddie?
You know, one of my pet peeves is people that say, I can't afford it.
Mm.
Because the first question I always ask them is, how much does it cost? And 9 times out of 10, they don't know. So how can they possibly know if they can't afford it if they don't know how much it costs?
Right.
I can't afford a house on the ocean. Have you looked into houses on the ocean? Have you looked into condos? Have
That's
you looked
honest.
into it? You know, have you
Yeah.
have you have you have you priced those? What do you have to do? Because it's not that you can't afford it, it's that you're not willing to do the work to get it. If you're not willing to do the work to get it, okay, fine. That's fine. That's what I can't afford it means. I can't afford it means I'm not willing to do what it takes to make that happen.
I'll never forget a client meeting where we had somebody that wanted to buy a house up in the mountains and didn't know how much it cost when you asked. And next thing you know, the next meeting, she had put an offer in on a house in the mountains and was going to move to the mountains. It happened very quickly. And so it goes with that idea of not knowing how much, just do a little research. Even if it's 5 minutes, just look up what you really truly want. It may surprise you. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about that you had talked about is raising their prices. We work with so many entrepreneurs that have a service-based business. They go into business because they have a problem that they can help solve. They make a difference in the world. They have something that they can offer. And they don't have a lot of expenses. Infusionsoft, Keep, or Kajabi, or MailChimp, or they have Time Trade or Calendly or OneHub. There's not really a lot of service expenses, but the one expense that we see that they do not include is their time. They're not charging for their time, and they feel they're doing a service. They feel like they're doing a good deed, which is great, and they are amazing people. But if they don't charge for their time, and they're going to price themselves out of business, and then they're not going to be able to continue to help solve a problem. And so that is one area. Like when you're looking at your expenses, when you look at how much your business costs, are you looking at how much time it takes to do a sales call? Are you looking at how much time you meet with that client weekly? Are you looking at how much time it sends them a proposal? It may surprise you that there's 3 hours of time and you may be only charging $100 for a coaching session and you've spent 3 hours. And so it's okay. Like Maddie said, if you want to be a McDonald's or Ruth Chris Steakhouse, it's fine. Just make sure that you're charging for your time because that is the service you're offering. Maddie, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, and yeah, I want to add another thing to it.
Go for it.
When I bill you for an hour of my time, I'm not billing you for 60 minutes. I'm billing you for the last 40 years of my life working with thousands of business owners and the experience and the training that I have invested in and done over the last 40 years. You're not, if you've gone to school, if you have gone to trainings, they're not paying you for the hour that you spend with them. They're paying you for the investment you've made in yourself. It's your value, and you've got to own that value. And that's a very difficult thing for a lot of people to do, is to own their own value. And I really, if you don't make enough money to live the life you want to live, you need to raise your prices. If you can't hold that value, and say that it's worth it, you're saying you're not worth it. Is that true? I went to college. I passed the CPA exam. I've worked for dozens of, well, not dozens. I've worked for half a dozen CPA firms. I've worked at the Iowa Department of Revenue. I've done training with Jack Canfield. I've done training with David Nagel. I've done coaching with numerous people. All of that, you're 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 buying the last 40 years that enables me to do what I do with you in an hour. So it isn't a direct relationship, minutes to hours, and no business is. And you have to remember that because it's an investment. It's an investment. You've made investments and you need to be paid for those investments.
I love that, Maddie. Thank you for adding that. That's very good insight. So are you ready to reignite your entrepreneurial spark? Are you ready to see if you can take off some of those hats, those much needed hats, or at least just go into 2024 with financial clarity? We have 3 spots left for our free Master Your Finances workshop on December 30th at 10 a.m. There's only 3 spots left. Now, we don't like to cap things, but we also want it to be a fun environment, a small environment, so that we can make sure that you really have a strategic plan to go into 2024 with. And we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of goal setting. And I can tell you the first thing we want you to do is show up on December 30th at 10 a.m. with a list of 100 things to do, to be, or to have. Now, if you cannot join us on December 30th or you're busy, I challenge you to at least take 15 minutes and create a list of 100 things you want to do, to be, or to have. Now, I will put the link in the comments to sign up for that workshop. There's only 3 spots left, December 30th at 10 a.m. But at least I challenge you to create a list of 100 things to do, to be, or to have. Maddie, I do have one question from last week. And that is they just want to clarify if they have money available, should they invest in a IRA or an HSA? Which one, if they only have the money to put in one, which one would you choose?
If you qualify to put money in an HSA, a health savings account is the best thing that the government has passed in probably 40 years. If I had the money and I only could invest in an HSA, a health savings account, or an IRA, I would put the money in a health savings account. A health savings account has the benefit of making medical expenses deductible. You get a deduction for putting it in the health savings account. As long as it stays in the health savings account, the earnings on that health savings account are tax-free. And as long as you spend it on some kind of medical expense, when you take it out, it's not taxable when it comes out. That money literally was never taxed. Never. The growth
Wow.
was never taxed. The earnings on it was never taxed. Now, all you have to do, if you're 25 years old and you have a qualifying health insurance plan and you can put $3,000 in an HSA, if you will do that for the next 40 years, you will thank me every day when you're 65. Because You keep track of your expenses. You leave that money in the HSA. You let it grow tax free. And someday you can reimburse yourself for all the medical expenses that you paid along the way from the day you opened the HSA. You can go back clear to the day you opened the HSA and reimburse yourself for all those expenses. The money comes out tax free. You never pay tax on it. It's a beautiful thing. I love
Awesome.
HSAs. It's
Awesome.
better than an IRA. An IRA, you're going to put the money in, you're going to get a deduction, it's going to earn what it saves over a period of time. And when you take it out, the earnings and what you take out will be taxed at whatever your existing rate is. The HSA can be a savings vehicle that is never taxed.
That's great. All right. Well, I do not see any other questions. And so the biggest takeaway here is to do, dump, or delegate. Do, dump, or delegate. And to join us, be one of the last three to join us on December 30th. And if those spots are closed, at least create the list of 100 things to do, be, or have. We hope you have a great weekend, a very Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a very happy New Year. We do plan to be here again next Thursday. If there's questions, please add them to the comments. I'll add a comment with the link. Make sure you give me a GIF on what you think of Infusionsoft. And if you use Kajabi or something else, go ahead, add a GIF. How do you feel about marketing in general? um, so all right, we're signing off, Maddie. Make sure you tell everybody bye.
Okay, bye.